Coming up on today's show, we run through the latest update on Deshaun Watson going into the Niners game, and then we check out a pair of ESPN trade ideas involving D'Ernest Johnson and Mecole Hardman. Now, before we get to the Deshaun Watson injury news, I was looking at the YouTube sub numbers with our other AFC North foes here at Chat Sports. We are in dead last right now, and that sucks. I'm not going to lie. Right now, the vibe, the overall buzz around the Brownies is a bit down, and I just want to get an overall morale lift here. So subscribe to the channel if you're not giving up on this team because they've got some injury issues in early October, and you can't wait to beat the Steelers and the Ravens later on this season. Now, as for Mr. Watson, he did not practice today for a third time this week. Didn't go on Monday in a later walkthrough, didn't go on Wednesday, and did not play or practice on Thursday. He also did not speak to the media, which has a lot of blue check marks in Cleveland, thinking the writing is on the wall that Watson will not be able to go on Sunday. For those of you that have been living under a rock for the last 72 hours, he suffered a rotator cuff contusion. Now, according to doctors, that is a 2 to 6 week estimated recovery, and we are in week 3, right? He missed the Ravens game, had the bye week, and here we are. So somewhat in the middle of an estimated recovery time, which I think is a good sign that he's not going to be out for too much longer if he does, in fact, miss this Sunday against the Niners. And if he does, it'll be P.J. Walker starting in his place, according to Kevin Stefanski. Listen. The quarterback has an injured shoulder. I think there are too many people who are really riled up over this. And listen, I understand being uneasy and being nervous about the starting quarterback being injured. Like, that is always going to be a big deal. No question about it. But no one should be all that shocked if he misses some games, right? He has missed one game so far because his throwing shoulder is injured. That should not come as a huge surprise to anyone, right? More often than not, when quarterbacks get a shoulder injury, they are likely going to miss some time. Now, as for whether or not he is being tough, I'm not going to entertain the idea of Watson not being a tough SOB. He takes a ton of hits. Coincidentally, my producer right now, Jake Chipper, is a Clemson alum, and he will testify that Watson played on a torn ACL once to take down the Gamecocks. So, no, I'm not going to entertain the idea of Deshaun Watson's not a tough guy. Now, the next debate, if you will, on Browns Twitter is whether or not the Browns are being shady. The team announced that nothing is torn or separated, so unless they're lying on that front, I'm not really sure what everyone is super duper worked up about and going full on conspiracy mode that the Browns are covering something up here, right? They said nothing is torn or separated. If nothing is torn or separated, then they're being pretty transparent, at least as transparent as most NFL teams are when it comes to injuries. No one should be expecting the Browns to go to the podium and announce to the 49ers and the rest of the NFL exactly what is wrong with Deshaun Watson and that he will not go. Now, if they want to wait it out to the last possible moment to either A, see if Watson could play, or B, at least have the 49ers game plan for two different quarterbacks, I'm not going to get upset about that. Now, if they know something is deeper and there's a bigger problem here and they are trying to hide it from us for as long as possible, well, that's going to blow up in their face if in a week or so it comes out, yeah, Watson's done for the year, and the fact that the Browns were not honest about this from the get-go and said he was at one point a game-time decision to not playing at all, you're just going to come across as stupid. But if they truly are being honest about there's nothing torn, there's nothing separated, and we are just waiting for Watson to feel 100%, then I don't really understand what all the fuss is about right now, right? Guy's got an injured shoulder. No surprise that he's not going to be able to play most likely this Sunday. So for that reason, I don't think Watson will be able to go on Sunday. Also, a Browns reporter, Jeff Schudel, tweeted out, I approached P.J. Walker at his locker this morning, and before I asked a question, he politely said, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Apparently, the Browns have already decided Walker will start at quarterback versus the 49ers on Sunday. Jeff is making a jump here that if P.J. Walker is speaking to the team tomorrow on Friday, well, there wouldn't be a reason why the backup quarterback would speak unless he knows he is going to play. So maybe P.J. Walker kind of let the cat out of the bag here, and the Browns know all along that Watson is not playing, but they want to keep the Niners on their toes. I'm not really sure, but I don't expect Watson to be able to play on Sunday. I know earlier this week, Adam Schefter thought he would be able to go. Deshaun Watson himself sat in his locker on the Friday before the Ravens game thinking he would be able to go. But if he goes out there and he can't throw the football well, then he shouldn't play, right? The last thing I want to see is Nick Bosa end Deshaun Watson's 2023 season, and this season really goes down the dumpster. So no, I am not going to force Deshaun Watson out there because Baker did it. Yeah, how did that work out for the Browns? Not pretty well. He's got $230 million. Do you think his right rotator cuff knows, hey, I'm a $230 million rotator cuff. Get it together. No, come on. It's the human body. So I'm not going to get up in arms over the Browns need to tell us more what's going on. They are telling us what's going on. He's got a shoulder injury and he's day-to-day. Yes, I would love to have insight knowledge and be a fly in the wall in Berea. We all would. But the fact is, they're an NFL team. Teams are not always very honest and transparent about injuries that are truly day-to-day. All right. Now, if Watson cannot go, which, like I said, I would not hold my breath on, it'll be P.J. Walker starting in his place. Last season for the Panthers, he had 5 starts, appeared in 6 games total, 731 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Listen, this is what I'm going to say about P.J. Walker. He's probably the better option for one game than Dorian Thompson-Robinson because he's got that experience, and I would hate to see DTR take a beating against the Ravens and the Niners in back-to-back starts. Like, that's just an awful way to begin your NFL career against those two defenses. But P.J. Walker was signed as the Bears' backup quarterback in the offseason, and he lost that job to a D2 UDFA quarterback. Do not expect P.J. Walker to come in and be some knight on a white horse. It might not be pretty, even with P.J. Walker out there. But if you had to pick a backup quarterback, who would you rather have? P.J. Walker or DTR? I'm in the camp of we can bicker all we want, but both guys are probably going to get slaughtered by this 49ers defense. They are legit. Deshaun Watson could have been slaughtered by this 49ers defense. So I know that's a big rain cloud, and that's loser talk, and if the Browns come back to win, please come dunk on me. But for now, I maintain the thought that I think we're all quietly holding on to, but just don't want to say out loud. And, well, it's my job to do that, and that is, whether it's Walker or DTR, it's going to get ugly. All right, next up, though, we do have 2 trades to talk about here, as ESPN has kind of cranked up their NFL trade coverage, and their experts came up with some possible trades that could get pulled off before the NFL trade deadline, and 2 of the 15 they put out there involved the Cleveland Browns. But before we get to that, today's Browns Report is sponsored by Game Time. You shouldn't have to worry when you're buying tickets to your next big event. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. If you're trying to catch an upcoming Browns game, or let's say you want to go see a concert or a Cavs game or another sporting event in your area, Game Time is the place to visit first. What I love about Game Time are they have these awesome benefits, right? Last-minute tickets and flash deals. Games, concerts, and more. So if it's not a sporting event you want to see, they've got pretty much everything under the book, like comedy, for example, on Game Time. It's an easy-to-use app. It's super user-friendly. You're not going to get lost in it and be unable to find your ticket or start, scrolling through your email for months on end trying to find old tickets. Plus, you can even see what your view is like before you purchase your seat, and they have the lowest price guaranteed. Now, what do I mean by seeing your view before you buy your seat? They literally have bird's eye view of every single available seat before you purchase them. So you know exactly what you're getting before you go and sit down at Cleveland Browns Stadium. Or there are some pretty interesting stadiums out there in this beautiful country that have some pretty horrendous views. And I don't want you finding yourself behind a big pole in right field. Okay, but it's the place to find last-minute seats. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code BROWNSCHAT for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code BROWNSCHAT for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. The first ESPN trade idea I want to look at involves a familiar face coming back to the land, and that would be D'Ernest Johnson, along with a 7th-round draft pick to Jacksonville for a 2024 5th-round draft pick. When it comes to trading for D'Ernest Johnson, which has been speculated for quite some time now, honestly, even before the Nick Chubb injury, back in the preseason of, hey, I don't know how Jerome Ford's going to do at RB2. Let's get DJ back. Similar to the Kareem Hunt return, I don't think DJ is going to come back to Cleveland if he does get traded to the Browns and save the day either. Yes, D'Ernest Johnson gave Browns fans 3 very memorable performances in 2021. But I am not holding on to the fact that that guy who played those 3 games is going to walk in the door in the middle of the 2023 season, put the team on his back, and put up some 100-plus yard games. That seems like asking a lot for a third-string running back in Jacksonville. No question that the Browns' running back room is not where the Browns wanted to be following the Nick Chubb injury, right? I think Kevin Stefanski probably would have had even slightly higher expectations than the numbers Ford and Kareem Hunt have put up. I mean, it's been a small sample size for Hunt, just 10 carries, so hard to really, grade him too harshly. But we'll come out of the bye and have the 49ers game. That's 4 weeks for the offense and the coaching staff to put together a new game plan. And it's not easy to replace Nick Chubb. It's impossible to do so. But in 4 weeks, I'd like to see more production than what Ford and Hunt have given us through 2 weeks or 2 games so far. Now, D'Ernest Johnson, like I said, in 2021, he put up 3 really special performances. He was spectacular in that Thursday night game against the Broncos, remember, with Case Keenum starting. He was even great in the Week 18 finale against the Bengals. But right now, I'm looking at the upcoming schedule. They got the 49ers coming to town in Week 6. Then they go on the road to Indianapolis and Seattle before the NFL trade deadline. So, my prediction, my theory is this. We got 3 games before the NFL trade deadline. Andrew Berry is going to use at least 2 of those games to come to a conclusion as to whether or not the Browns need to add another running back. Like I said, we've only seen 2 games of the Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt duo. I don't think Andrew Berry signed Kareem Hunt just to panic 2 games later and go, well, that's not working. We're on to the next man. No, that's just not a good job as a GM to pay a guy and 2 weeks later give up on him and trade for someone. Now, Andrew Berry has no problem fixing his mistakes or fixing holes on this team, but to me, giving up on the 2 running backs 2 games into the experience is probably a bit premature. But if we come out of the Colts game and it's been 4 games and those 2 guys have yet to combine for 100 rushing yards, then we might see a trade. But my prediction is Andrew Berry wants to give these guys a little bit more time before he pulls the plug and he makes a trade for another running back. Now, would you trade for D'Ernest Johnson? He has not done a lot in Jacksonville. He lost the backup job to a rookie, Tank Bigsby. Shout out to Tank. That's an incredible name. But so far this year, he's got 6 carries for 8 yards. So I'm just going to say, like when Kareem Hunt returned, pump the brakes on getting the nostalgia of but that Broncos Thursday night game, that was 2 years ago. I don't think we're getting that guy right now. Second trade idea from ESPN. Mecole Hardman for Donovan Peoples-Jones. Just a straight-up wide receiver swap. Now, this one I wanted to go see, and I wanted to share with you guys what Bill Barnwell from ESPN had to say about this wide receiver swap. He said, the former Chiefs playmaker never turned into the downfield burner Kansas City had hoped for when it drafted him in the 2nd round in 2019. But he is a useful gadget player and a solid punt returner, so he can justify a role as a team's 4th or 5th wideout. The Browns hope to have Jakeem Grant in that role, but he has yet to play for the team after suffering back-to-back season-ending injuries in consecutive preseasons. Peoples-Jones has been kept in the punt return role out of necessity, but the Browns originally signed Grant to upgrade that spot on special teams. But he has been targeted just 14 times on 131 routes this season, which ranks 111th out of 114 wideouts. Is Bill really suggesting trading Donovan Peoples-Jones for David Putney? That's basically what I just read right there, was that Bill Barnwell couldn't really think of a good Browns trade idea, so he's like, well, let's see what Kevin Costner would have done, and just threw on draft day. No, I'm not interested in trading a wide receiver like DPJ, who last year in a run-first offense as the second choice had 839 receiving yards, because 4 games into the season, he's not off to a spectacular start. I don't hate the idea of trading for Mecole Hardman, but I'm not swapping a wide receiver like DPJ, a 6th-round draft pick, who in 1 season alone has more receiving yards than in any other season that Mecole Hardman has put up with Patrick Mahomes as his quarterback. You do not swap DPJ for David goddamn Putney. Absolutely not. But let me know which trade you would do if you had to pick one of these two trades. Would you do the D'Ernest Johnson trade, or would you do the Mecole Hardman trade? Let me know. Just type Johnson or Hardman down in the comment section. I'm very curious to see what you guys have to say about these two trade ideas from ESPN. My choice or my preference, I'll take D'Ernest Johnson. I wouldn't bank on that 3-game performance coming out the door in 2021. But if it just costs you a day 3 pick swap, like it's a very low ceiling, I wouldn't say, or low floor, I was get that mixed up. Low floor, I wouldn't even say the high ceiling. It's an average size ceiling. It's a 10-foot room. It's the room I'm in right now. We are not talking about a skyscraper ceiling for D'Ernest Johnson. But if at all it costs is a 5th-round pick, which I don't love giving up a 5th, honestly, but you get a 7th back. Well, I hate getting 7th-round picks in meaningless trades. So it's better than giving up DPJ. That's really the main driver behind picking D'Ernest Johnson. All right, before we get on out of here, if you guys had not seen this yet, I just wanted to share it. David Njoku posted on his Instagram a picture of himself following his at-home, fire burn incident, and it is freaking terrifying to look at. It kind of looks like Harvey from The Dark Knight. I mean, the fact that David Njoku suffered these very serious burns. Like, I thought when I first saw the story, I didn't know what a backyard fire burn could do, but man, he put on a helmet and played a National Football League game against the Baltimore Ravens the next day or 2 days later or whatever. Truly incredible. Like, David Njoku might not put up top 5 tight end numbers, but this guy's an absolute warrior. Like, this guy is a guy you want in your locker room. He's going to go out there, he's going to play his tail off, he's going to burn his face off, it looks like, and play 48 hours later. Truly remarkable, and just kudos to Njoku. Tough as nails, and a bazillion times, I would still be in bed if this happened to me. You would not see me for the rest of 2023. I take the year off. Bye. I would not go up against Roquan Smith the next day. That's for sure. All right, that's going to do it for us on today's show. Sorry for taking up all your time this Thursday afternoon. We're going to sign off, and we're going to see you guys later.